Yes, G.S. Paul again, dear audience. We have already seen the detailed structure of a cell and the cell division, mitosis and meiosis. Today we will get into little details, that is, details of the cell. We call it as cell biology. And in cell biology, we shall look at the cell membrane, which limits the cell, cytoplasm, which means all the contents of the cell, the cytoplasm and the cell organelles. The nucleus means the genetic material, chromosomes. Mitochondria, which is responsible for production of energy. Ribosomes, which are concerned with the synthesis of protein. And then a nucleus, which makes and puts together parts of ribosomes. We shall see that in details. And then we have nucleus, which holds, I beg your pardon, nucleolus, I beg your pardon, vacuole, which holds the water, and the lysosomes, which remove the waste disposal and digestive enzymes. And then we have endoplasmic reticulum. It is concerned with the transport of proteins. Golgi body, it acts as a post office and sends protein and lipids. And then we have smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which synthesizes the liposomes. These are the structures which we see inside the cell, and we call it as cell biology. Now, the first thing we shall take up the cell membrane. Now, before I take up the cell membrane, I would like to review a little bit about the cell. You understand that we have already discussed that a cell is a structural and functional unit of all living things, and human beings in particular. Structural and functional unit. And there I told you that in human body there are approximately 28 to 36 trillions of cells. Can you imagine? A trillion number is a large number of cells. And we shall be looking at the cell membrane, that is the membrane which surrounds the cell. And coming to the cell membrane, you will be astonished to know that the thickness of a cell membrane is 7.5 to 10 nanometers. You know what is a nanometer? And we shall see what is nanometer separately, but this is 10 raised to power minus 9, which is quite a small thing. Now, if we have to look at the cell membrane, we have to go to a microscope called electron microscope. And under the electron microscope, the first thing that we shall see the structure of the cell membrane. Now, before we see the structure of the cell membrane, let's see what are the functions of cell membrane. The first major function of the cell membrane is structural support. It provides the structure of the particular cell and then ultimately the body in which the cell is present. Therefore, it is called structural support. And cell membrane holds the cytoplasm and the cell organelles. The next function is selective permeability. Now, outside the cell is extracellular lymph, and inside the cell is intracellular cytoplasm. So, in between the extracellular material, I mean the lymph, and the intracellular material, I mean the cytoplasm, plasma membrane is there. And this plasma membrane permits things from lymph to the cytoplasm and from the cytoplasm to the lymph. This is what we call as selective permeability. Now, coming to the structure of cell membrane. The cell membrane under electron microscope we shall see that it is a phospholipid bilayer. This is a phospholipid bilayer. Now this phospholipid and the whole structure of phospholipid is made up of a circular structure on the top, the head, and two arm-like things called the tail. The head is made up of phosphate group and glycol, and the tail part is made up of fatty acids. Now, the head which faces the head of the phospholipid bipolar, which faces the lymph, is called hydrophilic head, and the tail of this is called hydrophilic tail. So hydrophilic head and hydrophilic tail. The head towards the intracellular side is called the hydrophobic. This is called the hydrophobic head, and these are called the hydrophilic tails. Here it is, hydrophobic tail and hydrophobic head. The phospholipid bilayer makes the main structure of the membrane. Not only that, inside the membrane there is present the cholesterol. Cholesterol is also involved in the formation of the plasma membrane. Protein is also involved in the formation of the plasma membrane in the form of glycoprotein, in the form of surface protein, and in the form of peripheral protein and protein channel. This channel is the channel through which the selective permeability will be brought into action. That means things from cellular portion, lymph, things will go into the intracellular structure and from the intracellular to the outside. We shall see what goes in and what goes out. So cell membrane is actually made up of phospholipids, the fatty acids, the protein, the cholesterol, and some protein lies on the surface called surface protein, and peripheral protein towards the inner side, peripheral protein, and in the main bipolar layer is called the integral protein. So in nutshell, the plasma membrane is mainly consists of or is made up of phospholipids and cholesterol and proteins and glycerol. Now, this chemical composition of the plasma membrane explains the plasma membrane. Now, the thickness of the plasma membrane is 7.5 to 10 nanometers, which is very thin. Now we have to see the selective permeability. The selective permeability. Now what goes in? The first thing, all the constituents of food, I mean glucose, amino acids, the fatty acids, the vitamins, the minerals, the water is present in the lymph extracellular. It goes in. Selective permeability. And from within the cell membrane, I mean intracellular, what goes out is the waste products like carbon dioxide, urea, and some of the enzymes. So two things you have to remember, that waste products and the urea and the water, extra water, that urea, extra water and carbon dioxide from within the cell goes to the outside, and from outside all the nutrients, I mean glucose, amino acids, minerals, vitamins, water and enzymes, all these things go into the intracellular lymph fluid. Now this selective permeability is the main job of plasma membrane. That's what I had to tell you today about cell membrane. Next we shall see the cytoplasmic contents, that means the cytoplasm itself and the cell organelles. These are the cell organelles. We shall see what is cytoplasm. By the way, we have seen now cell membrane, and we have already seen the chromosomes in the nucleus, the genetic material. So next time when we meet, we shall look at the cell organelles. That means the cytoplasm, mitochondria and so on. That's all what I have to tell you for today. Mainly it was concerning cell membrane. Dear friends, as I always say, when I talk about a structure or about a topic, you might get certain questions. You can ask all those questions in the comments section. I will be answering all those questions in the comment section. And to remind you, a boy who asks questions is called a student. And a student who doesn't ask questions is a boy. Now, in addition to that, I often say that I know this is a matter of details. Normally, it is beyond the scope of a normal intelligence. I mean, you would not like to know the cell structure of a cell membrane and that thing. But I'm sure once it is heard and understood, it is quite interesting. And if it is interesting, thumbs up please. And you should pass this information to some of your friends who are interested in details of the cell. I mean cell biology, which is a little complicated structure and complicated, knowledge, and must be understood. I don't know why people don't get interested. I'm talking about yourself, your body, your cells, and the structures present in the cells of your body. So I think that's all what I have to say for today. Thank you very much, gentlemen.